Hey guys, welcome back. Scott here with a new beer dissection video. What I have for us today is from Sierra Nevada, the famous Narwhal, okay, which I'm sure over my picture. It is their Imperial Stout, but their barrel-aged Imperial Stout. Now, I remember, I'm a big fan of North Coast Old Rasputin, which is a very famous Imperial Stout, one of the most famous ones. Remember Narwhal coming out not too far after it or before it. And I don't recall it ever being barrel aged. I mean, this may be something, barrel aged with beers, in my recollection, last 5 years, 7 years. I may not have the exact date right because there'll be some brewery that said, oh, we've been doing it 9 years. But I remember, I think originally Narwhal was just strictly a Imperial Stout. And it was right there with North Coast Old Rasputin. Around the same time period, but I could be mistaken. If you guys have any little tidbits, definitely chime in my comments on YouTube, or for the handful of you on Facebook, let me know. But so this is a barrel-aged Imperial Stout, which again, I thought it was to just be a regular Imperial Stout, but nowadays barrel aging is very popular, especially with Goose Island, and a lot of other people are doing it now. It's coming at 11.9% alcohol, because 12% would be absolutely crazy. Okay, 11.9%. It's legendary. Okay, our legendary Narwhal Imperial Stout rests in bourbon barrels for nearly a year. So I got to probably do a little research. If when they started barrel aging it, I don't think, unless I'm completely confused, 10, 20 years ago, if not 30 years ago, that this was barrel aged. So this may be something newer for them. When I say newer, not necessarily in the last 6 months or year, maybe last handful of years or so. But any of you guys have had this prior, let me know. But I definitely have had Narwhal before, many years ago. I've been drinking a lot of old North Coast Old Rasputin recently, which I always feel is kind of the epitome of Imperial Stouts. But so anyway, we know Sierra Nevada is out of Chico, California. They do have something out of Mills River, North Carolina, which is not too far from Asheville, North Carolina. So again, I'm presuming this is going to be a little bit of a sipper, okay, at 11.9%. So again, it's been many years that whether it was barrel, I doubt it was barrel aged when I had it 20, 30 years ago. I have a feeling this, again, was started barrel aged not that long ago, in the last handful of years. But neither here nor there. Let's do a little review on it and just take a look at it. So typical 16-ounce can. I'm going to pour this into my Tiku glass here. Wow, it's pouring like jet black. Let me take a look at it, see if it does look jet black. Let's take a look at the head first, as I usually do. 1.5 inch, light brown, medium brown head. Color on it is really dark brown to black. Okay, I can see through the very, very, very bottom of my glass on the stem. But I'll still, sometimes I'll say when I see that on some of the Irish stouts, I'll still, say that it's more dark brown. This one is probably on the verge of just sheer black. Okay, dark brown black. Like I said, and going back to the head, I kind of got that nice, espresso crema effect on top, pretty tight bubbles, I'm not going to say whipped cream effect because the head is so dark, and kind of a medium brown color, but the bubbles look pretty tight, looks pretty nice. But again, that crema effect on a nice espresso machine is what I'm looking at here. Anyway, let's take a sniff of the aroma. Oh, yeah, I get the oak right away. Chocolate, dark chocolate. Almost like you had like Lindt or Ghirardelli chocolate. Dark. A little bit of coffee. Dark roast coffee. But you can get that bourbon, oak kind of aromatic coming off of it right away, almost as if you were smelling Goose Island Bourbon County Stout, which is pretty strong with the oak also. On the end of my long sniff, you kind of just left chocolate only. But it smells really nice, guys. You know, I'm not a big fan. I don't drink bourbon much. That's why some of them, but you know, some of the, like the Bourbon County Stout, which is bourbon barrel aged also, is a little bit harsh. I haven't even tasted this one yet, but I can pick up definitely the bourbon here now. Okay, regardless of whether I drink it much. I know what it smells like. I have tasted it, but I don't drink it regularly. Okay, chocolate. There's this very subtle herbal character to it. Like, you know, this is not going to be a hop-driven beer. It's going to be very malt-forward-driven beer with the oak and stout, but you know, you kind of get a slight herbal component to it, but it's really chocolate, a little bit of coffee. Again, I can't even get past, you know, you get the bourbon on there and the oak aromas. Roast. But you do get the bourbon there. But anyway, smells pretty nice. A typical, like, kind of imperial stout base with obviously the bourbon aromatics. So anyway, guys, cheers, prost. Wow, I got this perfect temperature. Wow. Chocolate, without a doubt. Dark chocolate, coffee, but I get this nut, like a roasted nut. I'm getting it on the aftertaste right now. It's almost like you're dipping like roasted nuts into chocolate and eating it. That's kind of what I'm getting. Definitely it's full-bodied, obviously, especially around 12%. In the aftertaste, a little caramel comes through. Low carbonation, which you do want that. It's low to medium carbonation. Definitely serve this warmer than usual. I would definitely serve it no colder than like in the 50s, my personal preference. If you go a little bit too cold, I think you're going to lose some of the character to it. Coffee also kind of comes in on the aftertaste also. The bitterness is actually pretty moderate. I'd even say moderate to pronounced. You know, it's got to be supporting the sweetness of a beer like this. There's going to be a lot of residual sweetness. Most likely the mash temperature on this is higher on these imperial stouts. The alpha amylase is going to, you know, leave bigger chunks of the carbohydrate behind, leading to some of the full bodiness to it. You almost think that you're drinking a milk stout because it's very creamy. Surprising. Now maybe it's coming in now. I'm getting a little bit of the warmth now from the alcohol. But again, full-bodied, alcoholic warmth, no astringency. Warmth, like I said, carbonation is kind of low moderate. You're getting that chocolate coffee roast. Again, nuts. I'm just getting like roasted walnut, hazelnut on there with a good, nice, you know, there's some sharp bitterness there, which is pretty nice too. I got to say, I'm enjoying this more than definitely the Bourbon County Stout. And maybe it's tough to compare it to North Coast. If I had this as the OG back in the day, this would be right there. Maybe one day I would have to do, if I can find, I want to say North Coast has barrel aged their stouts now. On some of them you can get it, but I could be mistaken. If they do, I'm going to try to do a side-by-side, a blind side-by-side with this. Because it's tough to say, because North Coast is strictly a imperial stout. This, I'm getting hit. You know, you do get the bourbon in there, the oak, so it's tough to compare it side by side. The base beer, though, I got to say, is going to be right there with North Coast Old Rasputin. You get a little vanilla, which is not uncommon with a lot of these oak woods. Will give you sometimes vanilla kind of character to it. Besides, obviously, the oak. Pretty nice go, guys. But in the aftertaste, with the bourbon, is coming through a little bit stronger. Creamy, chewy type of imperial stout. Definitely a fireside sipper. You know, I'm filming this in, as you can probably look over my shoulder, it's early. I don't think it's not technically spring yet. We're approaching spring. It's kind of, I'm in mid to late March right now. But I enjoy these beers all year long. Just depends on what I'm looking for that particular day. So anyway, guys, Narwhal from Sierra Nevada, their barrel-aged Imperial Stout. I got to give an A+. I would definitely buy a 4-pack of this before I'd buy 1 bottle of the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout, without a doubt. So sometimes I bring that up, not to slam other beers, but I think I paid roughly $20 for this 4-pack, give or take maybe a few bucks more. Really enjoying this, and I think I actually enjoy a little bit more. I think the Goose Island gets a little bit too solventy with the high alcohol. I think there's a little bit more bourbon in it. This has a little more approachable, and I just find that the base beer, I think, is just far superior. Almost as if, and I'm going to look into it to see if North Coast Old Rasputin is barrel aging some of their beers also. I don't know about that right now. I'm going to look into that. If you do know that, chime in, please, under my YouTube channel. A+. I'm really going to enjoy this and going to definitely sip the rest of this very slowly at 12%. So anyway, guys, if you like a good Imperial Stout, especially one that's oak aged, with vanilla, obviously oak bourbon character from this is being bourbon barrels, but it's still not neglecting typical Imperial Stouts with some coffee. I get nuts here, maybe light caramel, but definitely dark chocolate. Definitely dark, like, you know, when you see like Lindt chocolates being like 95, 98% cacao, cocoa kind of beans. This is what you're going to get here. Very, very full-bodied, sipper. Okay? So anyway, guys, hopefully you got a little bit of information from the Sierra Nevada's Narwhal, barrel-aged Narwhal. Again, I really got to look up that I don't think they barrel-aged 20, 30 years ago, even though they're probably producing the same quality stout at that point. I think they also do the Bigfoot. They make a Bigfoot, which is a barley wine, which comes out once a year too. So anyway, guys, a little bit about that beer. Beer Dissection A+. Definitely would recommend it. And to my next beer video, guys, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.